Hi, my name is Ruta Matulevičiūtė, and this is NextGen Arts for Enlightenment. We are talking to artists who practice consciousness-based art and aim to develop the full potential of creativity through the practice of transcendental meditation. Today I'm talking to Nora Mincheva, who is a Bulgarian interdisciplinary artist whose work explores the fields of stage arts and visual arts, with music being a strong focal point. Nora, or her artist name being NoomRa, graduated from St. Kliment Ohridski University in Sofia, Bulgaria, with a degree in cultural studies in 2016. Nora has created and performed music with artists from various countries at diverse venues, from underground cultural spaces in Europe to popular clubs, and also churches even. Her music has garnered the support of a number of magazines worldwide, such as the German Phase Mag, the French Iggy Mag, the US, the Luna Collective, and the Brazilian Beat for Beat, among others. She has taken part in alternative theater plays, musicals, art exhibitions, for example, Assembly of Shame, organized by world-renowned interdisciplinary artist Ivo Dimchev. And also in the field of performance art, she has presented her work during Sofia Underground Performance Art Festival and Fusion Art Fest. She has also contributed to the sound design of the contemporary dance piece Cell by renowned Chinese choreographer Ho Ying at the State Theater of Kassel, Germany. In addition, she has facilitated creative workshops in Poland and the Netherlands, exploring art as a therapeutic tool and means of self-exploration. Nora Mincheva shares her artistic mission is to inspire, to heal, and to empower. This is a really amazing biography, Nora. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
How did you become interested in creative expression in art?
Well, it was always part of me. Like, I don't remember a time where I was not interested. It just came naturally out of me in any possible way, through dance, singing, drawing, everything. I see ever since I was little, actually.
And looking at your work online, I can see that you are a universal artist. And I see and admire your powerful artistic expression. But is there a medium that you could call being your like a primary focus?
Yeah, certainly. I definitely not just identify the most, but for me, the most special form of expression is music, and specifically singing, because I think that's the most natural thing. It's inbuilt, literally. It's like in us. And also dance, by the way. For me, they're very connected. So, but singing is something extraordinary. When you think about it, it's you reaching somebody, you touch their soul through sound waves, through frequencies. And for me, it has always been fascinating, the feeling when I'm singing, but especially when I'm improvising. That's very important for me. And just letting it all flow. I think that this was probably my first connection or experience that I could relate remotely to transcendence. Yeah.
What do you mean? Elaborate on that. This is really interesting. How do you relate? experience in creation to transcendence?
Because for me, to be an artist and a creative who does art not with a specific goal in mind, for example, but rather sits down, takes the paint without having in mind, I'm going to paint like a tree or something. So I'm talking really about creative flow. To do that, you have to connect with yourself and with something bigger on a very special, like on a very deep level. And to be able to translate whatever is going on the inside or in the collective consciousness, because I think we're all connected with that as well, especially artists. So this sensitivity and refinement of senses that we talk also with TM. So to be able to tap into all of that and just become like a tool and a medium for everything to be transformed and translated into something material and physical that somebody else could read or hear or see. I think that it's the connection between these layers of existence, between the relative and the absolute. And for me, what I actually realized ever since I got into TM and started learning about the knowledge and listening to Maharishi talking about the relative and the absolute, and I got super like inspired to by the perspective, which is my own, but that the artist is like a bridge between the two, because again, we connect the field of the absolute, where it's the unmanifested and everything is possible, related to imagination. And we find a way to translate it to the absolute and make something, as I said, that somebody else could read or experience. And for me, that's why I guess it's like this whole process for me, it's somehow transcending on a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could use like the terms that people are more familiar with, to be in the zone.
Aha, yeah.
As I said, yeah, to be in the zone basically, and to be in a certain flow, and not to think, but just to be in something, and as I said, become more like a tool. So lose your identity in a way, even partially. So, and I think with TM, that's our goal, is to become, to reconnect to the field of unboundedness. So again, kind of lose our identity in a way, because the identity is full of boundaries. To put it that way, it's like, because it's created from this and that concept and memory and reaction, and this is all cutting, fragmenting the unbounded reality, right? So I don't know if that's my current interpretation. Maybe it changes with time, but that's how I like to think about it at the moment. But yeah.
Yes, that's really an important connection, especially for the artist, to access that field of pure being, where everything, all of the creation comes from, to empower your creation. So, how long have you been practicing TM, and how did you find out about it?
Well, it just became 1 year, so I'm so happy. Yeah. So my story is a bit different than other people who experience TM via the country they're at, and they find their teacher there and learn about it, and they find a small community or big community of TM practitioners. In my case, I was looking for a volunteering project, and on the website of European Solidarity Corps, I discovered this program from Meru. So Meru is working with the European Union with this program to bring young people on board, and so that they could learn TM, they could arrive and join Meru as volunteers and immediately learn TM. So that's why my experience is like, I came here, I didn't know any other TM practitioner beforehand. I didn't know about TM or Meru or Maharishi. So I learned everything here, and it has been really inspiring. But I think most importantly, I felt like it's meant to be. It was the right moment. It was the right time. It was exactly what I needed. I wanted to focus more on my spiritual journey. I wanted to be part of a community. I wanted to live in the countryside. And there were so many factors that came together, and my wish came true. And I was like blown away, because that doesn't happen so often when somebody is able to see their wish to come true in such extent. So it was very, very inspiring, and I'm very grateful for this. It's an amazing opportunity.
I think I know what you're talking about. My stories, I can relate from my story as well. How does your work routine look like? Where do you fit meditation in this routine with the creative projects and everything, like volunteering that you are doing at Meru?
So I think it's a great privilege to be at Meru, because the day is kind of designed so that it not just fits TM but makes it a priority. Like the program, be it a city program or meditators program, so it makes it easier in comparison to outside life, to incorporate and to focus on it and to practice and examine how it changes you, and this whole process, for me at least, because it was very transformational this 1 year. And here it's like intensified. So yeah, my normal day always starts with TM and maybe some other physical exercise before meditation, and then I come to Meru. I do my work, which is in different departments and different areas. And then normally we have a group meditation, so that's fantastic. And yeah, to your question, how do I fit my creative endeavors? Yeah, it has been, I like to do a lot of things and I have to fit them in. Like there's no other way. But yeah, it's I'm just trying to be flexible, and when I feel pulled to one thing more, I just focus more on that. And then if I feel more pulled to something else, I focus on that one. So it's kind of constant. I'm trying to prioritize and to also go with the flow in a way. But I I think it's important when you realize that you have to dedicate time for certain things if you want them to happen, if you want them to see the world, like in terms of creations, especially. And I had this process, and it was wild, because there's also has been this struggle with not the creativity, but the resistance around completing a project. So I had this also, and it was really an interesting journey. But honestly, I found myself more productive, and since I'm here, and more driven and more able to overcome all these layers of resistance that sometimes pop up, and blockages, this fear of even being seen, which I have sometimes. So it has been very interesting, and yeah, and I've been extremely creative. Like I did a lot of things, and not everything is already released or shown to the public, but because I still need to work on it. But I've been really creative, so that was great to see. I literally tried to translate all the different experiences mainly into music again, and just to channel and just sing freely. And I started working with new formats as well, and that was also very inspiring. So yeah, I hope I answered your questions.
Yes, and you were mentioning about this transformative, that you notice transformation in your practice, and I would like to come back to that a little bit later. After I would like to hear about some of your projects, and one of them is Eon. I think this is the latest one. Is that correct?
Eon exists for a few years now, but the latest project that is released under this moniker is Etheria. And yeah, that's the latest work that I released recently and that I've been working on since I'm here. So, and it's inspired by TM and Maharishi's teachings and my experiences with transcendental meditation, but also overall my spiritual journey and overall how I feel about being connected to the higher realms in whichever way we like to call it. I think for us, pure consciousness is the right term, and for me, it's yeah. So yeah, that's the latest project, and I can't believe still that I finished it because it was an amazing journey, and I feel honored and proud because just to get the idea and the inspiration to work on a project like this that is so related to spirituality and that causes a certain effect on the people, that I already got some feedback for it, and I was really, wow, I'm so glad that this is how you feel about it, because the idea is that this is an experience that reminds you again of what transcendence is, and like not just how it feels like, but why is it so crucial? Why why are we talking about this? And why is spirituality so important? And how can we allow ourselves to be connected to the deepest, to our deepest core, and simultaneously with the field of unboundedness? So yeah, and it all started. So the idea for a project like this as a format, I think I had during the summer of 2023, because the project is essentially it started as an audio project which combines music with spoken word. So it's like poetry, singing, ambient music, and in a way guided meditation, because that's how I wanted to more or less sound. And then it turned out to be a audiovisual work. So another layer of meaning and experiencing it through not just listening, but seeing. And I started working on it. I got the first vocal idea in December. And then I started writing and channeling like vocals and music in January. Actually, the first one was in the 31st of December, during the New Year's celebration in Maharishi's Peace Palace. And I just remember being there and enjoying this amazing blissfulness and the ceremony, and the words started just coming. And I knew that this is going to happen. So I already had my notebook. And I was like, I know I'm going to be inspired, so let me just have the tool in my hand. And that's how it happened. I just started writing, and I already had like something small, but I knew, okay, that's the first section. And then I started like being very dedicated and sitting down and channeling. So it all started coming together. So the creative part was nature support. It was just flowing. But then there were other elements, more technical things, that this took time. This was really hard work, and it was really, I had to be focused, and I had to be on a certain level of mind and arrive really in the project, which sometimes it just wasn't so easy or possible. And I had these blockages of what is this? Why am I doing this? Would people actually relate to it? How does it really represent TM in the right way? And here I should say, the point is not to represent TM or the movement. The point is to kind of translate my experience, and I hope the experience of a lot of other people, and to inspire not just us, but people who are not meditators, who don't have experience with TM or other meditation or anything else, But honestly, I just believe and I wish that if people knew the effect this has, I think more people would do it. And I wanted to inspire people. I just wanted to, okay, if you maybe just hear this and listen, and maybe it will show you how it could feel to meditate and to experience this on such a level. And that's how I was thinking about it in my head. So that was the main motivation. Okay, this is not just another art project. This is not just another song. This is not just something that I did. This is something that must happen. And it's like, I'm just a tool. I'm just a medium. I can do this. I know I can do this. So I'm going to sit there and in the next month after month, I'm just going to do whatever it takes. And I just want to share this with the world, and whatever happens afterwards, in whatever way people react to it, that's just not my job anymore. I did whatever I felt I should do. And yeah, I guess you could hear how special this project is for me on many different levels. The main one being the spiritual connection and connection with TM and the movement, which again, I feel very thrilled to be part of. And the other layer is that I think, again, as I mentioned, ever since I started TM and I'm part of Meru, I feel like I feel more productive and I feel more able to work in ways that I wasn't before. Not creatively, but just, finding inner peace. I think so. I want to connect this with my actual experience with TM in the long term, not just sitting, okay, feeling good, but this is about long term, how it kind of helped me and really changed some things for me. So I was able to discover a format and a way of expressing myself that I already had more or less, because Eon again, it started some years ago, so I already had that basis, but now it was even more intense. I found even more things I was able to, and I wanted to do something completely on my own, and I wanted to have full control over it, like over the creative process and the final result. And that's what I did. Like this whole project, I did everything, and for the first time I was feeling like, okay, it might take longer. I will have to learn some things to make it happen. But I would sit there and be just playing around and wiggling with stuff, and just so that, okay, this is what I want. Let's make it work. So that's something different. Like I've been producing music before. I've been writing. I've been doing all sorts of things, but a lot of them have been collaborative projects with other people, where you kind of have to give up certain level of control and you have to make compromise with your vision. And I felt like this time I will do it the other way around, also because being at Meru, one of my goals was to kind of step away from the world as a whole and experience some more like isolation in a way, but we're in a community, so it's not full isolation. But for me, it was really taking step back from the lifestyle that I had before, and the way that I was doing things before. And to be honest, before coming to Meru, I had to be very clear with myself. Okay, where do I stand in terms of art? What do I really want? How do I really want to work? With who, where, and all these questions, so that I feel like it's worth it, so that I feel like it gives me actual fulfillment. And it's not like, okay, I'm doing stuff that I think are worthwhile, but something in me is not agreeing, which was before coming to Mira, I had this contrast and dissonance, basically a big dissonance, cognitive dissonance. And so yeah, it changed. A lot of things changed, and for me, I'm very grateful. I really got the chance to have more clarity, and not just for art, but in general, for me as a person, for my life. So I attribute this again to TM because it really makes you, it anchors you, first of all, and then after being anchored and feeling a bit safer, then you could take distance and see some truths, even if they're bitter, but you have something to hold on to, like you have something to in yourself. No, I'm not talking about putting your faith or responsibility in the hands of God here. I'm very far from this. I'm talking about finding this safe space within yourself. And this for me is taking your power back from everything else and everyone else, and it's just and taking full responsibility therefore. So yeah, that's how I see it, like the connection between things.
Yeah, I think you are mentioning some things like very important things like grounding yourself. Like being artists, I think we are generally more sensitive than others. And it's like we are just naturally born with that more sensitive, more subtle nervous system. So there are so many things, so many inputs that we are feeling that we really need to find that silence in the day to just be in ourselves and then go back into the world to process everything, to intake everything, to see what's important, what's not, what's worth our attention, what's not, what's worth showing other people. This is really profound. And also, you mentioned another thing that I found very interesting, which was you said that ideas are coming and you just knew that ideas will come. So you had a notebook to write them down. And I remember you mentioned this really nice thing. I will read it's quote, "It's not me, it just came from me. It has to be shared because it is bigger than me." End of quote. I think this is a beautiful idea about the like creations coming to you, and we are kind of artists being a tool to put that into life. Would you elaborate on this? I think this is really interesting.
Yeah, I think I already mentioned more or less in the beginning about being the tool and the medium. But yeah, so I think that when we talk about creation, be it a newborn child or creative like pursuit, for me, it's all the same. Also in astrology, we view this as belonging to the same house, for example. I love astrology because of that. You could see some things that the connection between things. So in Jyotish, of course, it's fantastic tool. But yeah, when you think about it, it's like it comes from you, it comes through you. You're it's part of you, and you're part of it.
Mhm.
But essentially, it's just a continuation. You are a continuation of something bigger, and whatever comes through you is also continuation. It's like you know what I mean? And
Yes.
the same way we have like the different species on this planet, for example, and how as humans we are coming from totally different species, and then we have, of course, monkeys and chimpanzees, etc. And now we are creating potentially a new different species in terms of AI. And yeah, this is related to Ray Kurzweil and his theory, but I don't want to get there. It's just a beautiful concept also. And again, bringing us back to the pure consciousness and how everything consciousness is all there is, as Dr. Nader would say. But for me, it has always I've always seen it that way, and it's like we're all one, and we are all so connected to each other. And as an artist, as you mentioned, we are wired differently. We are wired to be more sensitive, and I've always felt more connected to other people than they probably felt connected to me, but to everyone. Just there was no like, okay, this person is a stranger on the street, for example. I just felt connection. I felt sorry if they were like in a bad position and it was visible, or you know what I mean. So it's like even if somebody is like doing your is creating a bit stress in your life for one reason or another, the best you could do is really see him as you see yourself, as an extension of the consciousness, of the pure consciousness, is an extension of the universe, and just having this in mind all the time is really useful to remind us that whatever happens, it's okay, it's normal, and whatever conflict or tension arises, it's something that is part of this whole existence thing, and it's meant to be that way, and we're meant to go through cycles. And and going back to Etheria, in the name, so the Starseed Journals Etheria, that's the full name, and the Starseed Journals, I decided that I want to start, that's a project that will have continuation, so there will be another chapter with this. The first chapter of it is Etheria, and the name is inspired by ether and the Akash, the fifth element, and the element that is related to space and the field of unmanifest, or the field that contains everything. So again, going back to that, which I honestly think is essential, and I'm trying to remind myself constantly when something is not going so well or whatever, I'm like, it's okay, it's all one. There is balance in one way or another. There is always balance, but this balance is coexisting together simultaneously with entropy. That's the beauty of it. Because it's like the chaos and the order that they can't exist one without the other. So I think I'm starting to go far away, but I'll stop here.
Well, I think this project encompasses a lot of things, so maybe it makes sense to go far away.
It's true. I really, I have the habit of putting too many things under one head. A lot of concepts, because for me, as I said, it's like they are all connected, these things, and I'm trying just to, it just comes this way. And the project is full of symbols, like starting from the cover art with the bubbles, and there's so much symbology, and there's so many keywords also from the movement, but also my own ways of seeing the world. And like about for example, the crystal child part is like this connection with the crystals and the light, and that we are all children, and in a way that, because sometimes we get too serious and okay, we're adults, let's act like adults, and that's true, and again, let's be responsible. But I'm talking about that in the end, we are all like, we are here to make mistakes as well. Like, we are here to learn. We are here to be on the path of unboundedness, trying to reach it. But it's just that I think that's what I want to share with the people also through the project, that we are all on the same path, on the same page, and we are all star seeds coming from the stars, from stardust. So it's like, I think it's humbling to think that way, but also inspiring and empowering. So
I agree. For me, it gives a sense of responsibility, I guess. I could say that, I think. And then talking about Etheria and the whole Eon project, right now it is accessible online on your website. And have you presented it before to the public?
So at the moment it's available on my website, but also on most music platforms. So on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Deezer. I will upload it on SoundCloud as well. So it's really accessible. Anyone could find it. But of course, it's recommended to see it on YouTube, because this way you get the audiovisual experience. Otherwise, you can only listen to it, which is also, it was the idea to be that way. but it just depends on the person what they prefer. You could just first listen, and then you could listen and watch, because I think that would be a different in combination. It's a different way to experience it. And I already noticed that some people go back to some tracks and listen again. So definitely think that something that also needs to be heard in the right moment. I think it's a project that it demands you to, okay, this is 30 minutes. I'd rather feel like in the right moment that I want to dive into it properly. But again, I separate it into 5 chapters, so that if you feel more inclined to hear this part and make a stop and process it, maybe. So again, it's really flexible, and it's not, I think it's good to give more freedom to the people to experience it in a way that it works for them. But yeah, it's available on other platforms. I started sharing it with first just a small group of people from the movement mainly, to get initial feedback, and then I just shared it with a bigger part of the Meru community specifically. And soon I will make it. I will share it publicly, probably on my social media. Um, and let's see. I have some other ideas as well, because it's a project that definitely has its own life, and I don't think it's gonna stay only on YouTube. I would like to bring it to the galleries and exhibitions and project it there. And also, I see it. For example, I have some art friends who um, might want to incorporate parts of it in their own artistic expression on stage, or as part of performance art or exhibition. So I'm very curious about this part. How can this project really has a life on its own, and not just be spread as it is, but be incorporated in different contexts? And how, because I think that could also make a lot of sense. And for example, I would love to hear one of the tracks, some contemporary dance performance, for example. I think it could also fit, because the whole idea is that it creates atmosphere. In a way, it's sound design, because Eon is very related to experimental music, ambient music, and sound design. So what I want to do with Eon is to create atmosphere for contemporary dance performances, my own projects, but also from other artists. Um, and yeah, there are a lot of ways to go, but for now, yeah, I'm just curious, little by little, how it's gonna grow and change and transform, and let's see.
There are infinite possibilities for this. I'm also very interested to hear about your performances at churches during service. I think that's really, really fascinating.
Yeah, it was incredible, and I still can't believe it, because I never thought like I'm gonna perform in a church. Especially, we're not talking about church music. We're talking about Eon, experimental ambient sound, which is based on vocals in combination with synthesizer. So I was playing my synthesizer and singing at the same time. And again, it was about creating a special atmosphere and ambience. And this is what Eon is about. It's not about performing in clubs or something like this. It's really more related to conceptual art than it is to music as stage art or something like this. And this is what I want to focus also in future, to create these kinds of experiences and share them with people and see the effects they would have on them. Because on me, while I'm doing it at home, for example, what I've been working on for now, for me, it's like so enriching, and it's cathartic at times, honestly. And I want to offer this to the audience and see if, again, if it would have the same effect. And if it does, honestly, it would be really, really inspiring, again, to keep on working in that direction. So Eon, how it happened, exactly in times of Corona, when most places you could perform were closed, and people were feeling rather, the mood was really down. It was during or right after lockdown. It depends on the country. This happened in Germany, and it was still like lockdown, but not full lockdown. It was in December, and these services were meant to be just before Christmas. And so I heard that they're looking for artists to perform. So I sent them my project, and they were very open to open really their doors for me, and it was fantastic, really, such an experience. And I think people really enjoyed it, and because the concept was to give them hope, just to give them hope in these difficult times, and to remind them of this higher connection. Um, very simple, very simple. And, yeah, would love to do it again. But yeah.
Absolutely. I have performed with an orchestra during the service at the church, and I know that sacredness is
Exactly.
just another level. But
Yeah.
experimental music and your own creation, I'm having goosebumps right now. It's just so wow, it's just magnificent. That's amazing.
Thank you. I hope one day you could come when I start doing more live sessions. And yeah,
For
even if
sure.
it's not in church, I think my idea is to recreate this sacredness. That's a key word. Thank you for using it, because that's what I'm aiming for. It is sacred. This whole thing that we're experiencing with transcendence, and all through religion, or again just trying to connect to the above, to the divine source, it is sacred. And I think that nowadays, especially, the search for sacredness should be, and I think it is, this thirst that is there at the moment is, yeah, cannot be quenched, I think. um, but yeah, that's what I want to work on, and that's what I've been working on for these months, and soon hopefully we'll start presenting it to public. Also, I plan to release more music, so that everyone anywhere could experience it. And again, it's more related to conceptual art in a way than to normal songwriting that I've been doing in the past. But that makes it more interesting, I think, and that makes it, again, contributes to the effect it has, because people are not used to it, and especially now with AI being influencing so much the music industry and the art of making music and creating as a whole, but I will focus on music. You can do so many things with AI, and recently people, I think soon, let's say, will start losing the differentiation between, okay, what was created by AI and what is created by human. So what I'm trying to do also by this whole concept of improvisation and channeling is to go away from the structures that we already know when it comes to making music, and dive into something that is not so explored. Something like, imagine Laurie Anderson in this realm, and other conceptual artists that they would go for, and how to bring together maybe music and theater and other arts in a way that it sounds relatable. It is relatable, but also inviting for people who are looking for art with higher meaning, and art that is maybe even charged with certain layers of social issues, or you know what I mean. I think that's that's another aspect of everything that I've been doing. It's very charged, socially charged, and I'm always trying to, not trying, it just happens naturally because I'm, as a person, I'm already very involved in everything that is happening and have my own opinions and I have my own prism. And honestly, I'm moved by things that, especially by social injustice and by things that I consider completely unacceptable to be happening. In my art, in my lyrics, or especially, but not only, or the way that I perform is really charged with that, with sometimes with my anger, sometimes with of course with my pain, or everything that is inside me that otherwise I can't really express in the normal day because you can't really it's not a good idea sometimes to unload on the world around you or something like this. But yeah, I think that there are all these feelings that all of us carry, all these struggles that we all have. Again, as an artist, my mission is to, sometimes I feel like my mission is to soak in everything that's around me, because that's how it feels, together with my own feelings, and just convert it and transmute it and turn it into art that could become healing. So that's another word that I would like to use, and another aspect that I think art has the potential to be healing. I say has the potential because some artists, I think being an artist is not a mold that fits everyone, or a mold that there are different types of artists, so to speak. There are artists that are focused on this effect of art and more entertaining, for example. There are artists that are more focused on art as a therapeutic tool, etc., etc. So I personally, I think I always was trying to use art as a tool for healing for myself, but also for those who experience my art. So yeah, that's that's actually a key point of what I'm doing, and I really hope that it has this effect on people. And yeah,
I think this is a perfect time to mention that transformation in your own creativity. And would you share if your art has changed, like how your creative process has changed when you learned TM compared to how you were creating previously?
Well, I'm trying to think if there is like something very clear that has changed. But I can't say, for example, that I'm even more creative or something like this, because I've always been very, very creative. So if the time allows it, etc. So now coming here, my lifestyle changed, so I had a bit more time. But as I said, what changed was being able to overcome the resistance, and when it comes to sharing my art, for example, and or finalizing things, and being braver about that, and so and being able to organize my process better. So again, creative process is one thing, so the act of creation and channeling, and then the technical part, in my case especially, it's a big chunk of it. So I've been able to find more ways to make things happen and to work on things, because again, I think I was more able to be at peace with myself, or to be more connected with myself, or to come back to myself. So but what I changed now, so what I started doing is finding, just making it more easy for me whenever I'm in the mood to sit down and actually create something, and having the space for that. And sometimes during the night when everyone is sleeping, just sitting and recording something, trying to be very quiet. But again, this new what I've been using now, and this new way of making music that I was diving into this 1 year, allowed me to be able to do that. Exactly. Even being very quiet, still I could unleash my creativity or my emotions. So that's one thing that helped me more, because this way I'm releasing these otherwise emotions that are being stored. And so that's something probably that has changed. Also, besides music, I was drawing a lot and painting a lot, so that's another thing. Again, the same thing. I just made it easier for me to grab a pen or whatever and just draw. So again, going back to maybe dedicating space and time, the same way we dedicate time for TM, the same way I was trying to make time for my art and my creative expression, because for me it's like something vital. It's not a hobby. It's not even a profession. It's like, if I don't create for a week or more, I become like depressed in a way, or I feel like something's being stored inside of me, and I'm storing and storing, and I can't let it out, and nothing else would help the same way that creativity would help. It's again unleashing everything. So I think it's very important. So in combination this with TM, for me it has been healing already as a process. And the desire also to share my works and to inspire other people and make them part of my journey, or to become part of their journey with my work, because this is like a two-way street. So yeah.
How do you see the audience is reacting to your works? You mentioned that you, with your creativity, with your works, you can become a part of people's journey. And I think this is such a beautiful idea. I also have this experience. How do you see that in their maybe reactions to your work, or how they are commenting?
That's a very nice question. So I think that in general, that's one of the features of art, that people could see, like in a mirror, a reflection of their inner world.
Yeah.
And that's why some people relate with some works of art, some people don't. So I know that my work wouldn't reach everyone on a deeper level or on the same level. But I do know that some people would be able to connect with it and need it. They need to see this reflection of what's going on inside of them, or they need to be reminded of certain things, for example. So that's how I see it. My desire is just to spread it as much as it's possible, and then whoever needs to experience it and hears it, and I hope that it would find them, it would find the right people. And again, going back to this idea, it's not my art. It's just happening through me. It's something that comes. I'm a channel, and I'm just a tool. So, and then the art finds its way. But I have to say, again, as someone who has some experience with the art world and the music as industry and stuff like that, it's not so easy to. So I won't just sit back and do nothing and expect it to reach people, because I know that's not how it works. So I'm gonna keep on trying my best for it to reach people, and to yeah, I think that's also especially nowadays, a very important task that the artists should accept, that they should have responsibility also for this part of the whole process. But yeah, and then it's nature support. You do your best, and then it's nature support to, even if one person says to one other person and this other person says to another person, and so yeah, let's hope that this would happen in the case that it's relevant, etc. But yeah.
Do you think that arts can create peace in the world or contribute to it?
I wish to believe that. I think you hit me with this question because I really wish to believe that. I really hope that, again, as artists, it's our mission and role to transmute and transform the heavy energies, the heavy layers of reality that sometimes people don't know how to work with. We have a lot of tools, and TM is an essential tool for that, but not everyone is doing TM, etc. still. So as artists, I think, first of all, we take a lot of this negativity and we convert it and we do something with it and we show people like, okay, this is wrong, or this is fantastic, or this is beautiful. And it's like, again, a screen, a mirror. That's how art is. And then some people get inspired by this. And in terms of faith, they feel more hopeful, they feel inspired, they feel enlightened, they remember. And these same people are the ones that sometimes make certain decisions and things depend on them on a completely different area of life and our existence, more practical areas, etc. So I do believe that, again, this connection exists. And again, the field of art, which is more ethereal, and it's like, it's not something super useful, purposeful, practical, like a bridge between two different shores that people just step on. No, it's something that exists on a completely abstract level. It's and it's hard to explain it. It's hard to justify it, but that it's relevant. That art and culture have always been relevant, and that this is also. By the way, maybe I should say, maybe I should connect it because for me, being an artist and having this privilege to create something is my legacy in a way. I think being an artist, a lot of people don't understand this, but if you think about it, like, you could have a big bank account, you could have like a lot of material belongings, or you could have impact in terms of power on societies, but all of these things, they disappear at some point. They're swallowed by the infinite realm of existence. But art is it's a media. It's something that is being revived with every next person, every next generation that chews on it and sees it. It is a legacy. It's the legacy of humanity, art and culture, and we know that. It's like, but we forget it. So for me, again, it's an immense privilege to be able to tap into these fields, to create something, to give it to people, and so yeah. And I don't think I would do that if I didn't believe that art can change the world.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you see the future of this very ethereal, abstract field, which is arts and culture? How do you see it evolving in the future? Where would you like to see it?
I don't know if you want a short answer or a long answer.
Give me the long answer.
Okay, let's start from the whole topic now that is especially relevant now, but it has started with the possibility to technically reproduce works of art. So let's talk about painting photographs. Okay, this is one thing. Now with AI, and the possibilities that technology has given to a lot of people to create, to be creators, to be artists, we are flooded with art. And there are no gatekeepers anymore in the sense that they were in the past, right? That's one thing. Now, art and culture are in the hands of everyone, more or less, and especially with social media. So we are living in very interesting times when it's challenging, but I like to see it from the beautiful point of view that yes, we're flooded with all sorts of art, some with from different levels of quality, let's say, but it's all art, it's all culture, it's all part of our culture. So, and we see so many people actually starting to express themselves because they're given the tools. Same as me. I'm given, like, I found very interesting tools so that I could express myself besides using my voice. And I was never a person who was so interested in learning an instrument. I'm more interested in learning technical tools. So it's amazing because it's shortcuts. It's like we are having shortcut after shortcut for us to express ourselves. So, and with AI making such a huge step and taking certain jobs away from the market potentially in future, and maybe making space for people to focus on what they actually want to do, etc. So I think that arts and culture will be very relevant on one hand, and I think that more people will start realizing that we're all artists and that we're all creators and that we're all able to tap into our creativity and really unload whatever we carry on the inside, use art as a tool to release these tensions or whatever. Which is, by the way, what I was just a funny example. When I was in high school, I think that's why I started rapping, because for me it was a great way to channel through art my anger or frustration. And because I wasn't the person who would go and have like a conflict with someone, and I didn't want to because I knew that everyone is acting from a place of pain, essentially. So for me, having the medium of rapping was putting all of this energy in a very packed way, not towards someone, but in the forms of art that could be then experienced by someone else. But what I was doing is to write in a more empowering way than a belittling way. So that's a difference when you use rap, for example. But yeah, what I just referring to this is I hope that's another TM and art. That's why they have so much potential, because they allow you to release things, to unstress, to put things not in the direction of a person, even if that person did something that you consider wrong, but to put something out, get it out of your system, get the stress out of your system, and then see things from a bigger perspective, and then find a more peaceful solution that is really taking into account the well-being of everyone. That's something that I love about the movement in TM. That's the perspective we are aiming for, and to be able to unstress, to be able to elevate ourselves. But again, I would maybe one last time connect to Etherea, and something that I didn't want this project to be only like sweet and bright and light and expressing only this higher level. I wanted it to have this, I wanted it to kind of encapsulate also the darker nuances, the pain, so you could sense, especially in the last track where I'm just singing, it's like a story that it's not just about going very high. It's about the curve of being on that journey, being in the unstressing moment where you feel everything so intensely, where you're in touch with your emotions and you're acknowledging them, and you know what's happening inside of you, and you feel it all, and then overcoming this or going from there somewhere upwards and releasing it, and then making space or for the bliss that is already there, right? So I really wanted also this to be part of the project, not so that it doesn't talk about TM or transcendence as in this one-sided way of, okay, utopia, or sugar coated or something like this, but really takes into account all the different aspects of it, because we are all living this. It's every day. It's not easy. Actually, the deeper you go, the more you realize things. It's bitter. It gets wild, and then, but every time you meditate, you remind yourself it's why this is happening. That essentially there is this whole field which which I just got into, and I'm like, where now? Yeah, that essentially when you're able to put aside all the mundane things, all the little things, and just focus on the big picture, it's all one, and it's all whole, and it's all absolute, and it's all black and white together. It's all the nuances, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of life. That's, for me, the beauty of it. And yeah.
I absolutely love how you put it. It's beautiful. You talk about the curve and all of the various things, all of the dark and light things. And yeah, I really love this about Yam also, that it's not about being all hippie and blissful all the time and just so good, everything's so nice. But it's just understanding that field of diversity and just being grounded in that huge absolute from which all comes, and it's just accepting all of that diverse creation. It's just all beautiful. That's nice. Okay, thank you so much, Nora, for this very inspiring talk.
Yeah, thank you for asking me these beautiful questions.
I wish all of the best things for your projects in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.